What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about why I am getting Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. The very first why I'm getting of 2025, if that matters to you. But the very first game that I am actually buying in the year, that matters to me. This is a big game. This is a game that I am getting very excited for. It's a game that's building excitement as we get closer and closer. Now, I say that a lot, but I gotta say, for a game like this, I've turned the corner rather quickly. This is one of those redemption-like games for somebody like me. I never got the first game until recently. I struggled with it. I didn't like it because of that struggle. I always respected it. I thought it was a cool idea, and as the years have gone on, I've wanted to like it, but just have never actually gone back until recently. I started going back. I started playing through the game, and depending on when you guys are watching the video, I might be rather far into the first game or not that far at all, but I'm really enjoying it. And I gotta say, why I'm getting the second game, a big part of it is because I do actually enjoy the first game. It's a game of trying it a second time, being a little bit older, and just kind of letting the game be what the game is, which I didn't allow it to do back in 2018. So I've been impressed by everything we've seen about the second game so far, but I do think it was important for me to go back and say, okay, although they're going to make some things easier, right? They're reducing the sword swinging to four directions instead of five. Okay, cool. But am I going to like the game, right? Because I didn't really connect originally. Okay, I get it now. I think the amount of choices that the game had in the first game even, and from what people are talking about from those like summer previews of the second game, what I really like to hear is one thing having this ripple effect on everything else. So back in like the summer, they were talking about a mission kind of later on in the game of stealing a sword and just all the ways that that can go right or wrong. And I loved reading it. I actually read like a PC Gamer one, I read an IGN one, and what's interesting is just the differences that one person experienced based off what they did. If they got caught doing the sword, if they actually made it out, what that impacted with that one quest. Now, that's one quest. The game is going to be like 80 plus hours. I think they've confirmed that. The game's enormous. The game is probably close to double the length of the first game. And now, I've said this before, more doesn't always mean better, right? Like quantity does not always mean quality. You want to focus on that quality, but I gotta believe that a studio that's so like intricately details these things, right? They care. They care about that accuracy. And that's another thing. I think going back and experiencing the first game in 2025, how much they care about the looks and, spacing, like walking into a village and like what a village looks like in 1403 or, whenever it is. Like, you don't see it all that often. In fact, you almost never see it. So to be able to experience that again, a bigger budget, a bigger team, the combat being a little bit easier. I guess what I'm really looking forward to for the second game is a more refined first game experience and kind of adding where you need to add. Now look, I will not beat around the bush. There's a couple things in the first game that still, again, replaying it, infuriates me. Like, I cannot believe it's as bad as it is. Lockpicking is one of those things. I think the talk was that it was designed for keyboard and mouse, so when you play it on controller, it's just not right, and they never did anything about it. It is in my opinion, it is absolutely atrocious. I need that to be lessened. Now here's the thing, I like the realism. I love the freaking day-night schedule, and they've emphasized that in the second game, right? You wake up at 5 a.m., you walk around the city, it's going to be dead, right? There's going to be a couple people out doing their routines, but most people are going to be asleep. You're not going to just be able to open doors, right? In a more casual open world, they're locked. People are sleeping because it's still early morning, and they'll come out when it's their kind of assigned time to, right? I love that. And that stuff's, present in the first game, but just, making those expansions when you can, right? Focusing on those schedules and those NPC behaviors and really, and I think they've emphasized this as well, just making areas feel lived in. Now, I've said this before, going back freaking years at this point, I love that. And that's actually one of the main things I love about open world games is to make it feel like it's alive. In fact, when you say open world, you're saying world, right? So when I think of a world, I think of things doing things, people doing things, right? So that's what I like to see. Witcher 3 is always a good example I always go back to. When I leave and I come back, I feel like things have happened. And Kingdom Come, even the first game, you feel like things are happening. You leave for 5 hours, you come back, they were working on the farm or, selling a horse. So, they were doing something in those 5 hours. It just has that feel. So that's something that I'm really excited to go back into. And I mean, look, also, for me, it hasn't been 7 years. It's been like a day, since I last played it. But for a lot of people that supported this thing back in the very beginning, it's been more than half a decade, and I think it's just going to be more refined. I mean, like, I actually don't mind the visuals, and there is some jank and there's some bugs and stuff in the first game, but you look at the second game, like the environment, the character models, it just looks so much more clean, but again, still in that setting, still in that environment. And part of that shows me, or even just some of the systems we've talked about in this video, shows me they're not losing where they came from. I think it's just going to be a more refined and longer, and again, I think just the biggest thing there is you can't lose the quality. The side quests still have to be intricate, the main stuff, and I think they did that rather well in the first game. And what we've heard about from like the limited time that journalists were able to play it over the summer into the fall, it seems like that's still there. Like, side quests are huge, they're enormous, and they have gigantic repercussions to the rest of the side quests. And again, another feature with this game that's different than other games of its ilk is that there's no restarts, there's no refresh. You just keep going. If something happens and it affects something that's about to happen, like the next day in the game, it's going to happen. Like that, you just keep going. There's no failing. You just keep moving forward. So I don't know. Yeah, it is about filling it with quality versus just like padding it. But I think they've shown so far from what we've heard, and I think they showed already enough in Kingdom Come 1, they're able to, the quest structure can be different and can have those ripple effects, and those are very important to kind of keeping things dynamic, I would say. And then also just having a more refined version of the first game. There's a reason why, yeah, the reviews were low at the time, but it sold. It sold really well. It continues to sell well. It's continued to get a player base. I think people just really like how different and how unique the first game is, and I don't think they're going to lose that with the second game. Like I said, though, I joked about it kind of in the beginning, but this is the first game for me, not even the first big game. I mean, it's huge, and it's it's a game that I'm going to try to play as much as possible, but then I'm going to have to kind of leave and come back for like Avowed or Lost Records or Like a Dragon. It's going to take a while. This is a game that you're going to be able to dedicate a couple months of your life to, but I'm ready. I truly am. Like, I'm super, super excited, way more excited than I was 2 weeks ago. It's been fast. The turnaround has been enormous because I've always respected it. I was always going to get it. I've said it for like 6, 7, 8 months whenever they announced it. I will get it. I will get it day one. It's just, will I like it? And I was kind of willing to spend the money, unsure. I feel very good about it now, where it's like, all right, going back into one, can I not just appreciate and respect the game, but can I actually play it? Like, can I actually sit down and like force myself into it? And the answer is, well, yes, I don't even have to force myself. It is a good game, and I think the second game will be good, and I'll definitely get my money's worth. For those that want an hour per dollar, right? If you spend $1, you get an hours of content. You're gonna get that, from this game. This would be up your alley. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.